for notes on this. Let's get rid of some of this. All right, so for these notes, we're not going to need all of them for the Delta quiz that we're doing today. All right, a sequence, that's where you're going to take have numbers and they have a pattern. Okay, so you're going from one to the next or whatever. Term of a sequence, the first term of the sequence we denoted as a sub 1. The second term of the sequence we denoted as a sub 2. So for a general term, doesn't matter which one it is, we'll call it the nth term. That would be a sub n. So if you wanted the fifth term, you'd put a sub 5. Finite sequence, that just means a sequence that stops. You're only going to go from like 1 to 10. Okay. Infinite sequence means you're going to go forever. Alternating sequence, that's when your signs bounce back and forth because you're multiplying by a negative somehow. So for instance, if you had negative 16 and you multiply by a negative 1/2, well, you end up getting 8. Okay. When you multiply by a negative 1/2, it changes the sign and it multiplies by 1/2. If you take 8 times negative 1/2, you get a negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 1/2 is a positive 2. Okay, so you get the idea. Recursive formula is what we're going to deal with on these first 2 Delta quizzes. All right, so recursive means the term that you're looking for, it depends on the term before it. All right. So we're looking at, to get from here to here, you subtract 3. To get from here to here, you subtract 3, subtract 3. So if you're trying to find this term, you have to look back at the one in front of it. So if this term, a sub n, whatever it is, you have to look at the one in front of that. So if you're looking for a sub n, you have to look at a sub n minus 1. Okay, so if this was a sub 5, well, when you plug that 5 in there, now you're looking at a sub 4, and then you would subtract 3 from it. Okay, so you take that a sub 4 and subtract 3. So that's a recursive formula. All right, so these two, we're looking at the recursive sequence function notation. There's L1 and here's L2. So we're doing the same basic things on both of these deltas, just L2 is a little bit more difficult, a little bit different. All right, so what they're giving us, they're telling us f of 1 equals 6. So I wrote that down. Then here's the recursive formula that we're going to use to find the rest of them. So we're going to take negative 4 times the answer we got in f sub whatever it was right in front of the n. So for instance, if we want to know what f sub 2 is, if we're looking for f sub 2, we're going to take negative 4 times the one in front of it. So we'll take negative 4, and then we're going to multiply by the function answer by f sub 1, which was right in front of it. And the reason this works out is if you plugged in a 2 right here, you'd also have to plug that in there if you let n be 2. So we're looking at f sub 2 equals negative 4 times f sub 2 minus 1 is 1, which is what I wrote down. All right, so when we work this out, you'll see that you take your negative 4 and you multiply it by f sub 1, which was the term in front of it, which was 6. All right, then we go to the next one. All right, so for this one, we're going to take negative 4 and we're going to multiply it by f sub 2. Again, if you took this 3 right here, you plug it in, that's what we're trying to find, but if you plug it in here, 3 minus 1 is 2. So we're taking negative 4 times, we found that f sub 2 is equal to negative 24. So that's what we're plugging in here. So when you multiply those together, you get a positive 96. So do you see how our signs are going back and forth? Because out front, we're multiplying by this negative. That's making our signs bounce back and forth. So f sub 4, we're going to take it times the one in front of it, which was 96. So when you take 96 times negative 4, you get negative 384. And then we're going to take negative 4 times the one in front of that. So we're going to multiply that by negative 4. And then we're going to take negative 4 times the one in front of that. So this would be the answer that you enter right there. All right, another example from the next Delta quiz. So f of 1 is 3, so I wrote that down. And here's the formula, so to find the rest of them, okay? So if we want to find f sub 2, where you see an n, we're going to plug a 2 in. So notice when we plug a 2 in right there, this right here is 1, which would be the one in front of it. So let's write this down. So we're going to take the function. I'm going to go ahead and just plug it in so you can see it all again. So my n is a 2. So if you let the n be 2, you have to let it be 2 there also. And then you'll notice that 2 minus 1 here is just 1. So f sub 1 squared, well, f sub 1 we found above that. Here was f sub 1 was 3. So instead of f sub 1, I'm plugging in a 3. So that's going to be 9 minus 1, which is 8. So we just found that f sub 2 is equal to 8. Okay, because we're taking the answer before that, squaring it, and then subtracting 1. So if you take the one before that and you square it, that gives you 9, and then you subtract 1, you get the 8. So f sub 3, we're going to take the one before it, which was 8. We're going to square it, and then we're going to subtract 1, which gives you 63. So you would put 63 right there. I'll go ahead and put those numbers in so there's no confusion.